Okay, I'm going to record this situation in Ukraine. There's been lots of media propaganda on both sides, of which very little has actually had some true basis to its story. Now, a lot of people say I'm pro-Russian. I do not support Russia, I do not support America, and I do not support the EU in this. And I do not support a non-elected government in Kiev. I've heard lots of things. The basics of the facts are the people in Kiev took over the government by force. They was using guns, throwing rocks, Molotov cocktails, burning tyres, burning buses. They did take people out of buildings, they did hold them, they did bend them down in front of crowds, they did take police officers and make them kneel down in front of the crowds to degrade them. Now, okay, fine, I can understand the reasoning why the people did this, but it doesn't justify the use of force. They was balaclavaed, they was wearing body armour, face masks. I saw them shooting with guns, rifles, handguns. So the situation there was not good as it stood. This government got into power through the use of force, and the people in the Kiev region that supported them. Then come Crimea. Now, bearing in mind some of the history of the people that were placed into the interim government, i.e. the right sector, and the attitudes of those people. Now, although I don't condone, Russia taking over Crimea, but we have to ask ourselves this question: would we have wanted the people within the right sector to take control of the Russian fleet that was actually in Crimea? There was just over 100 ships there. They had nuclear frigates, they had submarines that were carrying nuclear missiles. Do you really want those people in charge of that sort of power? So, although I don't agree with what Russia did, I can see why they annexed Crimea to protect that fleet. By coincidence, the people there seem to back them. I know a lot of people say, oh, they was under the gun. Well, I'm sorry, when the voting come, I didn't see many guns at the polling stations or around them. And having been in the area, then I can categorically say that that was incorrect. The people voted of their own free will in that area. America then chose to say that the vote was illegal. Okay, maybe under some aspects. Yep, they're correct. But is it not Obama and Kerry that are saying the people have the right to the vote, the right to choose themselves, but they're denying that to the people that voted in Crimea? Now that's double standards. Then we move on, and the rest within the East started to uprise and fight back because they didn't agree with the government that was in place in Kiev. Initially they banned all Russian language, or they implied they was going to ban it. They did a U-turn on that, but that sent a big shockwave through the Russian-speaking community within the East. So they set their own precedents there. The people then started to do exactly the same as what they did in Kiev. They started to take over the buildings so that they had control of that area. Now, Kiev didn't like that because they saw their power that they just got being undermined. Now, I don't stand on either side, but Kiev themselves did not like this happening. because they felt that their new gained power was being threatened. The United States and Europe come in with their IMF bids to send money. Well, an IMF fund in Ukraine will absolutely cripple the country. The first thing they said is, oh, pensions have to be halved, so all the poor people that get a pension are going to suffer. Gas prices have to be increased by 40%. Local government wages have to be cut. Nobody is hyped on that or cut on that, but Russia puts the price of the gas up. Oh, everybody's saying Russia's bad. So, again, double standards. The fact that Kiev didn't pay their gas bill, if I didn't pay my gas bill, I'd be cut off. So, maybe they should think the same way. The only way Kiev can actively use force against the people in the east is by saying they're terrorists. They brought out the little green man. Well, again, these photos were given out by the White House, by Kerry, in general meetings, and they turned out to be fake. They was taken not in Russia, they was taken in Ukraine. The gentleman that took the photos actually said this himself. So, therefore, they're spreading propaganda. The same as Russia is spreading propaganda from their side. Well, at what point do we start to believe them? Within Twitter you hear, Russia this, Russia that, Russia needs to do this, Russia needs to do that. Well, hang on, if these people aren't Russian, what the hell can Russia do about it? Nothing. You know, USA's on a win-win. They can't do anything. What do they expect Russia to do? Hey? Russia puts troops for the border, you come over. Whoa, that's going to be wrong. Russia can't intervene. But Russia's got to stop it. How can Russia stop it if America's saying, don't intervene, don't do nothing? Are they stupid? I think they must be. Because in my book, for them to stop it, they've got to do something. But America's saying, don't do anything. What's America doing? Nothing. Going round the world in his fancy jet, spending the US taxpayers' dollars on fuel, adding to the carbon footprint of the earth. For what? To shout his little mouth off. He's not doing bugger all. I would have thought as the first black president he'd have stood by principles, but he isn't. The only thing he's doing is trying to get America into another bloody war. To kill more American soldiers so they come home in the bags. To kill more people around the world. Hasn't America done enough damage over the years in all the countries it's been to? Look at the fake pictures, weapons of mass destruction in Iraq. What a load of shit that was. And people believed it. We went to war over it. We lost thousands of people. For what? Lies. Fabricated lies on behalf of the American government. Now, at the end of the day, America is thousands of miles away from Ukraine. What the hell is it doing sticking its nose in? It's nothing to do with them. What right have they got to tell Russia what to do? The same as Russia has no right to tell America what to do in its own country. You know, what right does America have to say, Russia, you need to do this? If Russia was to turn around to America and say, America, you need to do this, what would Obama say? He'd laugh in his face. Obama says Russia is no more than a big gas station. Well, I'll tell you what, the gas stations I've been into don't have the military hardware and nuclear missiles that Russia's got. Obviously Obama must shop at Area 57 or Area 51 because his gas station is full of weapons. They criticise Putin. He's not the best of leaders, I'll fully admit. But since he come to power, he's put more pounds in Russian pockets than any previous ruler of Russia. He took the American oil companies and took the money from them because America used to take all the oil from Russia and give Russia a pittance for it. And Putin stopped it. You know, America is at 10%. America's at 70% deficit. Russia's at 10%. Okay, you say Russia treats its people badly. I've actually been there. Yeah, at times they go in hard and harsh, but they don't get half the trouble and half the killings that you get in America. They don't get half the trouble. Wonder why? I don't agree with it. I don't think it's right. But that's Russia. That's how it's been its whole life. The people are used to it. You know, you can't change things overnight. And as successive people take over in Russia, it will improve. But they have to do it themselves. You can't have America saying you need to do this, you need to do that. America is quick enough to put Coca-Cola and McDonald's in there. They're quick enough to have BP shares in there and to have Chevron in there drilling oil in Russia. But they don't tell the American population that. They don't tell the American population that just off the coast of Ukraine, Chevron have invested 50 billion in drilling for oil. They don't say that Chevron has invested 5 billion in trying to frack gas from within Ukraine. That's where the American interest lies. Then America says, we will back the campaign of the president that's in situ now. We will give you money to fund your campaign. How can they fund just one person? That's who we want. We'll give you money to get you popularity. Is that not America trying to control things? In my book it is. I don't stand for Russia. I don't stand for them. I don't stand for Kiev sending tanks against its own people to kill them. They call them terrorists, Russian separatists. No, they're Ukrainian people, not Russians. Just because they speak Russian doesn't make them Russian. Putin may say it does, but that's bullshit. Kerry talks out of his arse. He's a 70-year-old man that should be in a nursing home. Why don't they put some young blood in there to try and sort the situation out instead of somebody with a 1960s mentality during the Cold War? The only thing that's going to do is put us back there. Now, I think that these people should back off. Let Ukraine sort it. Don't blame Russia. Blame Ukraine. Ukraine got itself into this situation. It rebelled in Kiev. It put this parliament into power. These people sitting there now, the ones that are sending those tanks against their own people to kill them and calling them terrorists because they don't agree with what they want. Is that right? Not in my book it isn't. Kiev has blood on their hands through killing their own people. America is backing it. Europe is backing it. I ask myself why. Why are they backing it and then pointing the finger at Russia? I live in England and I'm wondering, what the hell are they all pointing at Russia for? And it's not doing anything. I think it's deplorable. Maybe Obama ought to get off his arse, go there and talk to the people himself. Don't go and speak to an interim government. Go to the east, talk to the people there. Find out their views. And get his nose out of there. If Russia crosses the border to attack, I agree, that's a totally different thing. But don't call the people in the east terrorists when they're your own people fighting for what they believe in. That's my take on things. I can say a lot more, and I probably will add more to it. But if somebody's got some hard evidence, let them put it. Stop with the rubbish. Stop with the fake photos. Oh, this is happening, that's happening. No, put true facts. A Russian grenade launcher blows up a helicopter. No, actually, it was a Ukrainian person fired at the helicopter and blew it up. Not Russian. It could have been an American AP launcher. You know. Everybody points the finger. Russia's bad, Russia's bad, Russia's bad. Well, I tell you what, maybe if people open their bloody eyes for once and stop listening to the bullshit on the media, both West, both within Europe, America and Russia, go on pure facts. Look at the facts. The facts are these are Ukrainian people fighting for what they want, not terrorists. Just because Kiev and the people in power have their view, it doesn't reflect the view of the whole country. And they should remember that. They got into power through force, and I'll tell you what, they can be taken out through force. The sooner that country gives the vote to the people, the better. And I don't think an interim government should be able to change anything or attack its own people when they're not elected. And America's constitution says it cannot help any non-elected government that has got into power through force. Read their own constitution, America, and stop helping them. Back off and help them to get a vote. That's how you'll help the Ukraine people, by saying stop killing your own, have a vote, let's get an elected government in place. And the same with Putin.